That night, the usual calm of the hotel was disrupted by an unsettling noise. The young woman, staying on the 8th floor, was trying to unwind when she heard a soft, repetitive tapping on her window. The sound was faint but persistent enough to disturb her peace. Concerned, she called the front desk at 10 p.m., complaining about what she thought was window washing happening at an inappropriate hour. When we received her call, we immediately tried to understand the situation. We knew that our policy prohibited any cleaning or maintenance work after 6 p.m. Without a clear explanation, we assured her that we would investigate and apologized for the inconvenience. Our staff went to the floor in question, but found no one and no signs of activity. We conducted a thorough check and found everything to be in order. There were no workers or equipment to justify the reported noise. We decided it was best not to alarm the guest and simply offered a formal apology, assuring her that we would look into the matter further. From that moment on, the incident was recorded as an unusual complaint, but without an immediate resolution. Our priority was to keep the guest calm, as causing unnecessary distress seemed unwise. Little did we know, this event was just the beginning of a series of incidents that would leave everyone puzzled. In the days following the initial complaint, the strange occurrences continued to escalate. More guests began reporting similar disturbances. They described hearing persistent tapping noises at night, always around the same time, and always on the 8th floor. Each new complaint was met with a growing sense of unease. Our team began to take the reports more seriously, conducting more frequent checks and monitoring the area closely. Despite our efforts, we never found any evidence of window washing or maintenance activities. The mystery deepened as the tapping noises seemed to persist, even when we had no staff or machinery in operation. Guests who experienced the noises also started to report seeing unusual shadows or figures outside their windows. These sightings were often described as fleeting and indistinct, leaving more questions than answers. Some guests even mentioned feeling a chill or an eerie presence accompanying the tapping sounds. The situation began to take its toll on the hotel's reputation. Guests became increasingly anxious, and word of the strange occurrences spread beyond the hotel's walls. We faced a growing number of inquiries from curious visitors and concerned locals. Our attempts to address the issue and maintain a calm environment were becoming more challenging. The staff was on high alert, but no matter how diligent we were, the tapping noises continued to elude our investigation. The phenomenon seemed to defy logical explanation, leaving everyone involved with it. As weeks went by, the eerie tapping on the 8th floor became a regular occurrence. The reports continued, and each new complaint added another layer to the growing mystery. The consistency of the tapping, always around the same time, and the reports of shadowy figures began to form a troubling pattern. We took several steps to uncover the source of these disturbances. The hotel conducted a thorough investigation, involving security cameras, additional staff patrols, and even external consultants specializing in unusual phenomena. Despite our best efforts, no concrete evidence emerged. The security footage showed nothing out of the ordinary, and our staff found no explanations during their rounds. The tapping seemed to have a specific rhythm, almost like a message or a signal. Some guests speculated about supernatural causes, while others tried to link the sounds to the building's history. Stories began to circulate about past events in the hotel, adding to the intrigue. The combination of mysterious noises and shadowy sightings created an atmosphere of suspense and curiosity. We also reached out to previous guests who had stayed on the 8th floor in the past. Some mentioned minor disturbances, but none had reported anything as persistent or troubling as the current incidents. It seemed as though whatever was causing the tapping had suddenly become more active, or perhaps more noticeable. Despite the ongoing investigations, the tapping continued unabated. The phenomenon became a local legend, with theories ranging from ghostly apparitions to a clever prank. The hotel staff remained vigilant, but as time went on, the mystery of the 8th floor tapping became an enigmatic part of the hotel's lore, remembered with a mix of curiosity and unease. Over time, the complaints about the tapping on the 8th floor faded, and the unsettling occurrences became less frequent. However, the legend of the mysterious tapping continued to linger in the minds of those who experienced it. The hotel management decided it was best to keep the story under wraps to avoid further alarm. Despite the lack of concrete answers, the eerie tapping had left a lasting impact on the hotel and its patrons. Former guests who had stayed on the 8th floor often shared their experiences, turning the incident into a local legend. Tales of the strange noises and shadowy figures grew with each retelling, adding layers of intrigue and suspense to the story. The mystery of the tapping also led to a surge in curiosity and speculation. Some guests, intrigued by the legend, sought out the 8th floor just to see if they could experience the phenomenon themselves. Others were more cautious, choosing to avoid that floor altogether after hearing the unsettling stories. The hotel, now with a peculiar chapter in its history, continued to operate normally, but the atmosphere of mystery remained. The tapping became a part of the hotel's identity, a reminder of the unexplained events that once stirred the imaginations of those who stayed there. Though the incidents eventually ceased, the story of the tapping on the 8th floor became a haunting memory, shared and remembered as a curious and unsettling chapter in the hotel's history.